Hi, my name is Emily Gray and I'm making this video because I have hypopituitarism. Mine is, I've had it since birth or infancy, but I was not diagnosed until I was 17 years old. And I'm just gonna tell the story of how I was diagnosed with it. And in case hypopituitarism happens to ring a bell, which it might now, there's the movie that came out recently, The Orphan. The girl in the movie has hypopituitarism as well. So they mentioned it for a second there in the movie. But anyway, this is my story. Okay, I was born on May 26, 1982 in Boulder, Colorado. I was born 2 weeks late with a ventricle septal heart defect, which I still have now, in fact, because we didn't know it could be fixed until just a few years ago. But anyways, and I also had underdeveloped lungs. I was in the NICU for 2 weeks on ventilators. Then when I was 3 months old, my parents and I moved to Houston, Texas to live with my mom's parents. And when I was 4 months old, I had my second DPT shot, which caused me to have seizures and 107 fever. And at the time, the doctors diagnosed me with epilepsy and tried to, and prescribed me medication for it, which my parents didn't give me for very long at all, because they knew all along that was not what my problem was. And a short while later, after the DPT shot, I stopped pulling myself up in the playpen, and I kind of went in the fetal position, and I also was experiencing some other developmental delays. And then after that, throughout my life, I've been in and out of hospitals several times for viruses and other allergic reactions like vaccinations and medications, especially antibiotics. And every time I went in there, my mom had to scream and fight to try and get me admitted to the hospital, because they all thought, just give me, get me stabilized and send me home, and my mom also began to notice as I grew up that I wasn't developing the way I should, and I wasn't running and climbing and jumping around like all the other kids my age, and something just wasn't right with me. She knew all throughout my life she could notice something just wasn't right, and she tried to tell doctors of this many times as I was growing up, and they all thought that she was overprotective mother, or that like Munchausen's by proxy or something like that, that she was making me sick, or just anything like that. And so she tried to give me an MRI for several years as well, thinking something wrong with my brain. Maybe I had some kind of brain damage, like from childhood. They all just shrugged her off. And not only that, we had family members and close friends and school employees at my school, like my principal and stuff, and many other people throughout our lives that always thought, she was crazy or overprotective, or, something like that. Then, in 1993, my parents divorced, and we moved to Texas Baptist Children's Home in Round Rock, Texas for 9 months. Then we moved to Georgetown, Texas, where I met my best friend in 9th grade in 1997 on my first day. She was a sophomore, and then I found out that Sammy has something called Turner syndrome. So as I got to know her better and I learned more about Turner's, it had a lot of, I noticed that it had a lot of similarities to what was going on with me. And then when I was 17, I didn't get my period, and that finally sent up some kind of red flag to the doctor I was seeing at the time, and he ordered some blood work for me, including a thyroid test, which ended up being low. So he recommended me seeing an endocrinologist, which is the doctor that Sammy was seeing for Turner. So we went to saw hers. Her name was Dr. Jane Ray. She was in Austin, Texas at the time. I believe she's in Luling, Texas now. I looked it up. She almost the minute she walked in the door, she knew what I had. She told me that she thought I had hypopituitarism, which, after my finally long-awaited MRI, turned out to be correct. And along with the hypopituitarism, it Actually, it's the underlying cause of all my other problems, which are hypothyroidism, osteoporosis, hydronephrosis, which actually ended up leading to the loss of the function of my left kidney, and adrenal insufficiency, which is probably the worst of the conditions. It's like a secondary acid disease. And let's see what else. And of course, growth hormone deficiency, which I am working on now to get started therapy for. But Dr. Jane Ray also told me that day that I was diagnosed. That it was a miracle that I had lived to be 17 years old without, adrenal function. And so, if it hadn't been for my mom all those times running me in and out of hospitals and all that, I wouldn't be here today. And so anyway, but now it's 10 years later after I was diagnosed, and I'm doing much better physically, and we're living here in Galveston, Texas, which is awesome. I love it. But after I was diagnosed, well, not shortly, actually it was several years after I was diagnosed, I finally got disability, SSI disability, because I needed to have health insurance when I turned 25. My dad's right now. And now that I'm on Medicaid alone, it's a constant battle to get me the medical care I need. But, we do it, we get through it. And I started seeing a new endocrinologist in early July, who I love. Her name is Dr. Ann Bowie. She's here at UTMB, and she's working on the process of getting me the growth hormone therapy, which I've been trying for a long time to get as well. But that's another Medicaid issue. I've also been going to school at Galveston College here, majoring in general studies. After I get my associate's degree in general studies at Galveston College, I'm planning to transfer to UHCL, that's the University of Houston Clear Lake, to get my bachelor's degree to teach children with special needs, special ed teacher. And I guess that's about it. To learn more about, if you want to know any more about me, just, look up Hypopituitarism online. There's lots of websites about it and everything. And or you can ask me any questions you want to, or go see the movie The Orphan. Orphan. Just kidding. And I'll talk to you. Hope this is an interesting video for you. Hope I didn't bore you too much. And hope to talk to y'all later. Bye.